Well, time waits for no one, so this is a kind of different couple. We have to sort of make the most of our time, and we only got an hour. We already wasted 15 minutes waiting for Tarsh. So we're going to leave her there and head out anyway. Everyone, this is Mikey.
Hey guys.
Mikey from Bible College. So what brought you to, how long have you been on your Christian journey?
So, well, my relationship with Christ started 2.5 years ago. It was July 2015. To Teen Challenge, which is a drug and alcohol rehab, but not just a drug and alcohol rehab. It's a ministry where, you know, it's Christian based and everything. So, you know, stepping onto that grounds there was also stepping into a spiritual territory where the spiritual darkness that I'd been living my life in through addiction for 7 years was really able to get pulled off of me, and I was able to be filled up, and encounter the Holy Spirit. I mean, I remember that first day, actually, the first day of getting there, and you know, here I am, you know, skin and bones, basically, had no muscle, you know, been addicted to ice and OxyContin for probably about 6 years, and then you know, other stuff adding up to the 7 years. And I remember pulling on the door, and I couldn't open it. The door was stuck closed, and you know, deep in my spirit, it was so broken already, and I just wanted to give up. I was just like, what the heck am I doing? This is a mistake. I can't get off drugs. I've tried before, and then I just felt this presence, this presence with authority say, Michael, on the other side of this door is a new life for you. You gotta want it with everything you want, everything that you have. You gotta grab a hold of it and pull with this. And I said, I want that. I want this new life. So I grabbed a hold of that door and I pulled it as hard as I could. And I remember it like a suction valve had been broken. And just went poof. And I almost fell over, and I encountered this presence, this life-giving force of joy, of hope. I guess hope would be the main word. And I didn't know who it was. I mean, I knew it was more than just a something. It was a someone. And I remember the God had put the perfect lady right there. The program's receptionist. Her name is Jan, and Jan was there. And she had this big smile. She said, "Oh, you must be Michael. Welcome." And I was just like blown away. Like, she's just emanating like life and joy, and it was amazing. And next thing I know, all these guys are coming out, and they're all saying, "Hi, you must be, you know, what's your name?" and all this. And yeah, it was that moment that I started actually thinking that there might be more to life than just the physical. There might be more to just this world than pain and suffering. There might actually be a tangible hope that we are able to grab a hold of. And that's where I started seeking. I started seeking by, you know, thinking that there was more to life than what I had been told, or more to life than what I had known.
Amazing.
And I just kept on going after it, kept on pursuing it. I remember going down to the football field, because that afternoon we all played sport, you know, just to help the new guy fit in and all that, me being the new guy. So we've gone down to the football oval, and all my life I was never into sport. I thought, you know, sport, well, I'm not a dog, I don't play fetch, I don't chase after balls. But here I am at the football field, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to go running. The only time I run is if I'm running from cops or someone, you know, just trying to bash me. But once again, that voice said, no, this is your new life. This is where we start doing things different. So I was like, all right, I went out there and I started running around, started catching the ball, and I just gave it my 100%. Next thing I know, I was vomiting in the garden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, you know, when you vomit, your eyes kind of go a bit watery and all that. So after I'd been vomiting, that water kind of subsided in my eyes, and in my vomit, I could see a used needle. It was actually really there. It was as if I had picked the only spot in all of the place that was vomit, and I vomited right on a used needle. And God said to me again so clearly, He said, Michael, this is what's done this to you. This is what's done this to you, but I brought you here to make you better. I brought you here to give you life, and give you life in an abundance. And I was like thinking, I'm tripping. I'm thinking, okay, this is you know, too much. This is too much. So I didn't tell anyone. I thought, nah, everyone would think I'm crazy.
That's a trippy moment, though.
Yeah, it was a very trippy moment. And then, so I just kept on pursuing. I kept on thinking that this is the right place. And, you know, I went to sleep that night thinking, wow, like, this might be it. And now the real test came in the morning when I woke up. I woke up on my single bed in a room with three other guys plus myself, so 4 all up. And I wake up before anyone else does. And usually when I wake up, the first thing I do is go to the bong, go to the needle, go to, you know, the chop, or whatever it was. But here I was in this place, I had nothing. I had none of that. I had all the things that I'd once chased for security were gone.
Wow.
And I didn't feel the sensation of fame. I didn't feel the sensation to crave. I felt, if anything, well, what do I do? And that's all I said. I woke up and I said, well, what do I do? What do I do here? And God said to me again, he said, why don't you smile at the man in the mirror? And I was like, whoa, that's too much, man. Like, for real? He said, yeah, that's for real, bro. Go do it. And for me, that was a big thing because, like, I remember when I was, like, probably 18, when I walked out of the shower one day and I got scared. I got scared by my reflection in the mirror. Because all of a sudden I realised I was gone. I realised that the little boy that was once there with life had been replaced by just a junkie, just a fiend, just someone that wanted more. And I hated my reflection, and I hated it for years. So to have a voice telling me to go smile at that was profound. That was so sidelined. So I listened. I listened because of the authority that I felt from God to do it. So I got up, and I didn't call him God at the time. I just called him that trippy voice that's making me think I'm losing my mind. So I get up and I walked in the bathroom. I washed my face, and as I opened my eyes, I smiled, and I just knew that the canvas that was once being reflected was gone. And that there was a new purpose for my life that had been there from the moment that I was conceived, from before I was conceived. From the moment God thought of me, he had called me for something greater than just to be an addict, greater than just be a liability to society. He called me to belong in this world. He called me to have a value in this world, and he called me to influence this world. And that's where my journey really started with God to unfold.
Far out. That's awesome. Well, I reckon in terms of touching lives and transforming lives and reaching the unchurched, I think there's very few people that can bridge that gap. Especially if you haven't gone through that yourself. So it sort of comes off as, unauthentic when someone's trying to reach that community or that culture and they don't understand it. So I think, how do you feel about going through that season to come out of it?
Great thought. It's a great thought. So, I've spoken on this before in regards to, when it says that, Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. We are made in God's image. So if that's what Jesus is, then part of who we are is truth. Now, when we go through whatever we go through in life, if we speak from that encounter, if we speak from the encounter of truth beyond anything else, then whoever we're speaking to, their true identity is, like reaching a sense of harmonics, is becoming connected with the truth that you're speaking. And no matter who they are, no matter how much they try to trick themselves from the reality that they're living in, the truth will speak for itself. The truth that you're saying will collide with the truth that they feel. And God makes everything work out for those that love him. And I think deep down, even those that are atheists, or even those that find themselves believing against God, or not even believing in God at all, not having a stand on it, deep down there's a place in their heart that longs for that. Like, let's put it this way, okay? God didn't make us to be self-sufficient. He didn't make us to be able to depend purely on ourselves. From the moment of birth, you need your mother's, to look after you. You need your father's protection. You couldn't live in the wild without that. He never designed us to be able to be sufficient on our own. Meaning that God has always made for us to be social creatures, social living. But beyond even that, I feel like, okay, let's look at this. When our body gets hungry, it gets hungry. So when it needs nutrients, it tells you that you're hungry. It tells you that you're thirsty. Your mind, when it gets weak, it says you need sleep. Your heart, from the moment you're born, says that you need affection, you need love. Let's go even further to say, well, then what's the soul saying? What's the soul saying? Well, the soul is saying that it needs unification with the one thing that understands it. With the one thing that created it, the one thing that knows who it is. It needs that. And you can't find that anywhere. You can't find that in money. You can't find that in sex. You can't find that in drugs. You can't find that even in your spouse. And the biggest mistakes people make when they get married is they find themselves looking for something that only God can give to them in their spouse. And you're already setting your spouse up with a burden that's unweighing. You need to be able to understand that the one person that can give you everything that you need, the one person that understands your needs beyond anyone else, is the one person that created you, the one person that designed designed you and thought you and dreamed you.
Wow.
The one that gave you the purpose, the one that gave you the passion.
Yeah, wow.
That's the one that we have to go back to day
Amazing.
in, day out.
That's
day
amazing,
in, day
yeah.
out, you know? So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you say about our past and the hard time we go down,
Yeah.
well, we're saved by the power of the blood and the power of our testimony.
Absolutely. Wow.
You have to understand, and we all have to understand this, that the power of our testimony is one of the biggest parts that God's able to move on this planet.
Yeah, right.
And you can't allow your past to dictate where you're going in your future. And you can't allow your past to say you're not good enough, because your Father says you are.
Yeah.
The truth is saying you are good enough, and the truth of what you've been through is the same truth that's going to allow other people to break out of the circumstance they're in.
Yeah, so true. In our class, Mikey would have to be one of the most gifted speakers. He doesn't need notes or a computer or anything to go off of. Whatever comes into his, wherever the Spirit moves him, he goes with it. And I'm sure he has his own method, but you don't see it. You don't see it. He just gets up and he just wows everybody. And you know, I didn't even know that you were only 2.5 years into your journey.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So before that, you didn't read the Bible or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Well, the funny thing was, my mother was a Christian.
Yeah, great.
And I grew up going to church. I did,
Yeah.
but I didn't have that relationship with Christ. I thought the church was. I just thought it was for people that couldn't believe in themselves.
Yeah, right.
You know, I thought if you could believe in yourself, then you didn't need the church. But
Right.
the church was full of people that couldn't believe in themselves. I've come to understand that that's not true. You know, the only reason that people that can believe in themselves
Yep.
don't believe in the church is because of the fact of the pride issue.
Oh,
Now,
right.
and that's not going to say that church is you know, you could go to church for your whole life and not actually encounter that presence, that person of God or of
Yes.
Jesus or of the Holy Spirit. You really need to seek that with every part of your heart. You need to allow the circumstance to get you to the moment when your knees hit the ground. And with that being said, when I was 19, even though I turned my life on the church, on the fact that I stopped even trying to seek God, there was a night when addiction had fully taken hold of my life. So I needed Oxycontin, which is a morphine-based tablet.
Oh,
I needed
okay.
it every 6 to 8 hours, and without it, I would go into withdrawals.
Oh, wow.
19 years old, finding myself in withdrawals for the 1,000th time or whatever it would have been. I went into the place to get the drugs, and I walked back into my bedroom room, starting to get the shakes, starting to get the sweats, and normally I'd just take the drugs as soon as I could.
Wow.
But this night, I walked in my room and I just all of a sudden saw my circumstance for what it really was. It was the room was a mess. There's holes in the walls. Like I might as well have been squatting in this house. Yeah, kinda. I've always known that I had gifts. I always knew that I was made to speak in a sense. Now it's a funny story. So I got pretty heavily addicted to opiates. And they're a downer, so they don't overstimulate you. You get, you kind of go on what's called the nod. You just kind of like doze out and in and out and in. You just feel really relaxed. And I used to go on the nod in a sense. I'd get high, go on the nod, and I'd get woken up out of my high from these visions of me. So you got to remember, this is when I'm like 18, 19, 20, when I'm like in the middle of my addictions, like in the high, hanging out with dodgy people and all kinds of stuff. And here I am, high, just, as high as a kite, and I'm having a vision that I'm preaching. Not only that I'm preaching, but I'm preaching in churches, all like churches I've never seen, in front of hundreds of people. Wow. And I'd wake up out of it, and I'd be like, oh, yuck, church. I'd get so frustrated, and I'd ring my mum up, and I'd be like, Mum, you effing brainwashed me. You took me to church, and now I don't even go to church, and I'm stuck in church in my head.
Wow.
And you wouldn't even believe it, Mum, I'm preaching at them. And she goes so smug like. I can remember her voice. She'd be like, well, Michael, the Lord's going to get what the Lord wants. And I'm like, nah, he's not getting me. He's not getting me. And I'd hang up the phone and I'd go get high again. And it just happened time and time again. And, I didn't actually see I didn't know any of the Bible really at the time. But I remember not long after I came to Teen Challenge, I was at a place and I heard someone, I think I started reading the book of Jonah. And I started seeing how much he ran from God.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, wow, like I knew all along that God was real. I just didn't have that relationship with him, and I was running from him. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to live my own life, and I knew that there was giftings on my life, but they weren't in the areas that I thought were cool. They weren't in the areas that I thought, I thought I'd get picked on. I got bullied, in school and that. God's the coolest, and what He can do with your life, anything that can bring transformation into an area, that's cool. Yeah. Like look at this, look at the worm that's a caterpillar, right? It's a grub. It crawls along the ground, and the next moment it becomes transformed into something that can fly.
Yeah.
Something that can take flight, something that can go to new levels, new layers. It's got the power in something that can allow you. If you find God and you find the power of the catalyst inside His name, you find your wings to fly.
Yeah, wow.
And that's where I am now. It doesn't. If someone was to tell me, oh no, Jesus isn't cool, I'd tell them that they're just lost.
Yeah, right.
You're blind. You don't see it.
Right.
And I'd be careful of the way I'm saying it, but that's the reality of it. If you're not, if you don't see the power in the name and in under the blood of what Christ can do in your life, then it's just a fact that you haven't seen it yet.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it's not true. It means that you haven't experienced it. And most people really ought to want to experience life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't experience life to the fullest until you've experienced that.
With your Christian journey, where do you see it taking you? When you combine all your talents and you know how we're talking today about purpose and, really narrowing down which strength, and numbering our gifts and numbering our talents and using them and using the period that we have right now going into the new year and into our new season to really pray into that. Mm-hmm. Do you see anything, or have you received anything at the moment?
So, I like the vision I was just saying back in my days of when I was an addict. Yes. I remember when I'd gone maybe a month or 2 months, maybe even 3 months into my program. I don't think it was 3, probably 2. Early days into my program. So this is back in 2015. We had all the guys in the program went in to see our senior pastor just spend an hour preaching to us. Yeah. And he talked about vision. And he preached about when God gives you visions that we have to write it down, that we have to claim it basically. Yeah, and I was like, wow, hang on, like those things that I was getting back when I was lost, they were visions of God. So I went back and I was like, how the heck am I supposed to write this down? When I was in churches preaching. So God, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't really think that. God also gave me these words. He said, Michael, there you will stand, armed with the Holy Spirit to deliver my message. And, I've grabbed a hold of that. I've written that down. I've had that as the mantra of my life, in a sense, knowing that whatever I speak, it will be His message. It will be through Him. It will be through His inspired words, His inspired dreams. Yeah. My life's mission is to instill hope into the hopelessness. Oh, to awesome. Allow the world that is being seen and told is dark to become lights. Right. The vision of Teen Challenge here in Queensland is not just so it's not just to see broken lives transformed into agents of hope through the power of Christ, but it's also seeing broken lives healed through the power of Jesus. Nice. But I think the main part is the first part is allowing the broken to become agents of hope in a world that's dark. Yeah, right. Allowing those that have been neglected, those that have been casted down, those that have been told they have learning difficulties, those that have been told that they're not going to inspire, not going to motivate, not going to be able to step up to the challenges. Those people are the people God wants to use, that Christ wants to use. Yeah, He wants to be able to take those that are broken, those that are the, in a sense, like the old analogy that I used just before, the grub of society, and say, no, come into my catalyst, come into what I've got. Let me wrap around you and let my transformational power come to you. Let me take the death of your life and make the life of the world in you. And that's the light that we will see in the generations to come. We talk about the ice epidemic, right? Yeah, something big at the moment. The ice epidemic. How are they going to stop it? How are they going to stop it? And the truth of it, I think, is the way it's going to stop is the generation that's being born into it. Because they're seeing all the mistakes being made by their parents. Right. But the problem with that being said is that we need to get the right teaching into them. We need to get the right empowerment into them. We have to get them to understand that who they are is opportunity and potential.
Yeah, wow.
That's who they are.
That's
It doesn't mean that opportunities in the circumstance around you. Sure, yeah, okay. There's opportunities if you are born in the right family compared to the wrong family in a sense. There's opportunities in a richer family. But no, the opportunity comes from those that will respond to it. You can be born in a rich family, but if you do not respond to the calling of your life, you won't stand up to anything.
That's right.
You won't feel the desire to prepare. I have learnt in my life, and to be able to bring that message to the world is what I want. I want to see leaders
awesome.
To become the overcomers.
Yes.
You know, and for them to realise there's so much more in their life.
Okay, everyone, so Tasha's on her little tangent in the...
So I've briefly talked about how I encountered the Holy Spirit, but I haven't talked about how I encountered Jesus. How I actually found that moment of putting my hand in the air.
Oh, right.
So, I've talked about the moment I opened that door at rehab. I talked about the moment that God spoke to me to smile at my reflection and to allow the canvas to become new. But 7 days after all that, 7 days, He made me fully new. And I remember feeling at first, the weight of my addiction, the weight of my circumstance, the weight of the fact that I was a drug addict and I had wasted 7 years of my life, and the person that I had become was so far away from the person I thought I was going to be. But I started walking up the stairs. Now, the church that I went to was a 2-story building, so you had to walk up a flight of steps to get to it.
Yeah.
And I'm walking up these steps, and I felt each step I took, the condition of my circumstance change. I felt the circumstance of who I was begin to change. I felt a new position becoming the position of a child of God, a position of a child that's not being neglected, the position of a person with hope. And I get to the top floor, and what I saw, I'll never forget. I saw the congregation of this church, not knowing anyone there, and I'm looking around, and everyone's smiling, everyone's bright, glowing, and all of a sudden I start seeing this little light zipping around. Woof, woof, woof.
Oh.
It looked like some kind of bird with a silk ribbon of light, and it was tying people together, and poof, 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 and it was linking them all together, and boom, out the window, then back in, and then out the window, then around, and all of a sudden this voice, I'm thinking, I'm tripping, what the heck, 7 days isn't long enough for drugs to come out of your system, obviously. And then, with all authority, God says to me, Michael, this is my family. And as you can see, it goes out the windows and around the whole world. And you can be a part of it too. All you got to do is choose.
Wow.
And like I said, I thought I was tripping. I go over to the coffee. I'm like, yep, drugs have cooked my brain. I'll never be the same again. I'm seeing stuff now. Like, people should have told me coming off drugs were this good, because I would have gave drugs up a lot ago, right? Anyway, I go to coffee. And I go up to the back of the auditorium. I don't want to really anyone to see me, and I start talking to this voice. I start saying, okay, you've been talking to me now for a week, and maybe I'm not losing my mind. Maybe you're actually there. And maybe the love that I've been feeling and the hope I've been feeling is a real thing that you want to give to me. And by this time, everyone in the congregation is now singing, and they're singing the songs, and they got their hands in the air, and I'm kind of just fighting, wrestling with this thing, feeling the moment of handing everything of mine over to God. And I all of a sudden realized I can't put my hand in the air. I've never been able to, and I remember thinking of my mum. Like, my mum is so beautiful, and she's always had the joy of heaven about her. I hadn't had that, and you guys have seen it with me from the moment you probably saw me. But that's new.
Wow.
That's from this moment that I'm about to talk about. That's from this interaction with God. And I said, God, I'm going to say that I'm not crazy. I'm going to say you've been talking to me now all my life, and all I want you to do is help me do one thing. I want you to help me praise you. The same way I saw my mum praise you. And I thought my mum was a crazy woman. I thought back in the days of the church, she'd take her shoes off and she'd jump around all crazy with her dress, like a hippie. And here I am saying, God, that's what I want to be like.
Yeah, wow.
God, I want to be like that, and all I want to do is begin it by putting my hand in the air. And I got my eyes closed and I'm shaking, and all of a sudden I felt like this sensation in my hand, like someone had cracked an egg of oil into the palm, and it started running down my arm into my armpit. But I was like, how's that possible? And I opened my eyes and my hand was in the air. I don't remember the motion. I don't remember the movement. And it's been something I've kept a hold of for the rest of my life. Because to you, hearing this, you might be thinking, oh, you just put your hand in the air. But no, the hand was tied down by a chain. It was tied down by a spiritual oppression. It was tied down by a lack of hope. It was tied down by the circumstance after circumstance of you're not good enough. You're not going to be anything. You know, you don't deserve love. And love is just a cruel trick. It's a deceit. It's a lie. It's not real. And in the moment of asking God to turn all that around, He pulled my hand up.
Wow.
And see, you might be finding yourself in a situation today, or you might find yourself in a situation tomorrow or the next day, but there'll be a day that will come when you will find yourself in a situation where you can't bring your hand up, where you can't bring the praise, you can't bring the circumstance to a full stop, to the point where it ends.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is say, God, I give it to you. God, I don't know how to move here, but you do.
Yeah, go.
See, Christ was able to move to the cross on the day of Calvary. You know, and that would have been one of the hardest places to move, but He overcame it. And the reason He overcame it was so that you can overcome what you're in today too.
Yeah.
And when we ask Him to do it, He'll take you to the moment that you can open your eyes and it's done. He says to the mountain, move, and the mountain will move.
Yeah.
Your faith has to be in Him. But see, the thing about faith is it's not something that you realise you just all of a sudden have. It's that moment where you say, I've got nothing, I might as well give in. I have nothing, I might as well give in. I might as well say, God, you've got me. And it doesn't matter if my mind makes sense. It doesn't matter if my circumstance will agree with it. Because without you turning up right now, I'm just going to be what I always was, dust. But yet we look at this world right now and addiction is through the roof.
Yeah.
Addiction is through the roof. What's going wrong is people are attaching themselves to the broken and the lost at the ages when they can make the right decision.
Ah, yes.
You know, you need to start being a friend, not to the people around you. You need to start being a friend to your future self. You need to realise that who you are now will dictate where you will be in the future.
Yeah.
The choices you make now will decide where you will be in the future. And I know we all have a dream when we're young. We're born with the amazing gift and the amazing power to see visions and dreams so clearly. Yeah. But as we grow and as we get the words cast over us that we won't achieve them, we begin to sell out for second best. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, second best is a damn lie. And second best is not even second best. It might as well be outside of the letter Z. It is that far away from where you want to be that you don't want to be so there. Good. You need to understand that when you decide to sell out, you're selling out to your dreams and the child in you. I had a little picture of myself on my coffee table when I was 22 because that's how much I missed who I was when I was 4 years old. I looked at this picture who as a boy was smiling, full of life, and here was a drug addict looking at that picture thinking, how could I do that to you? How could I allow this to happen to you? And I used to tell him, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. I said it to him so many times. I'd have a shot and boom, there I would be in tears saying to the 4-year-old self of me, don't do it. And then one day, a month before I went to rehab, I realised he can't change the decisions I've already made, but I can change the decisions I make now for the me in the future. Yeah. I'm here today because I decided to say no more to the circumstance I was in. I'm here today because I was allowing myself to find a moment at the crossroads that Jesus was able to come into it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't allow it to happen, and you just keep on the path that you're on, you're going to continue to walk past whatever comes after that. You're going to keep on walking past until your eternity turns into an eternity of pain. Right. And I'm telling you, I've lived enough pain to know I don't want that for myself or for you or for anybody else. Yeah, right. You know, there's something at a power right now on this planet that if we decide to give into it, you will be pulled from whatever circumstance you want to be in, and God will allow that to be whatever you want. You're allowed to dream. You're allowed to have visions. You're allowed to say, the world might not believe in me, my parents might not believe in me, my friends might not believe in me, but hang on, wait, God believes in me. And hey, I know that might be hard. I know that you might say, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. It doesn't matter. He believes in you.